Malik Turner thought he knew the woman he loved, until the moment he lied about losing his job and discovered exactly how conditional her love really was. Standing outside her door, he overheard words that shattered everything. Irresponsible, too much baggage, a liability I can't afford. What this struggling single father didn't realize was that his test had revealed more than just her truth. It exposed his own devastating pattern of self-sabotage that was poisoning not just his relationship, but the very foundation of trust he was building with his children. This is the story of a man who set a trap to protect his heart, only to catch himself in it, and the painful reckoning that followed when a woman he judged too quickly forced him to look in the mirror. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're from, because this journey from fear to self-worth will challenge everything you thought you knew about love and trust. The alarm clock buzzed at 5:30 a.m., the same as every morning. Malik Turner's hand shot out from under the blanket and slapped it silent before the sound could wake his kids. He lay there for a moment in the darkness, gathering the energy to face another day. His body ached. 34 years old, and he felt 50. Working on city buses all day, crawling under engines, lifting heavy parts, breathing in diesel fumes, took its toll. But the ache was worth it. The paycheck kept the lights on, kept food in the fridge, kept Jordan and Layla safe and fed. Malik sat up and rubbed his face. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. He stood and stretched, feeling his back crack. Then he padded quietly down the narrow hallway to check on his children. Jordan's door was slightly open. His 10-year-old son slept on his side, one arm hanging off the bed, his face peaceful. Malik smiled. Jordan was growing so fast, already wearing size 5 shoes, already asking questions Malik didn't always know how to answer. Across the hall, Layla's room glowed with the soft light of her nightlight. She was 6 and still afraid of the dark. Malik found her curled up with her favorite stuffed bear, her braids spread across the pillow like a crown. She looked so small, so innocent. Malik's chest tightened with love so fierce it almost hurt. He closed her door gently and went to the kitchen. The apartment was small. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough for their small table. The paint was old. The carpet was worn. But it was clean. Malik made sure of that. He kept everything organized, everything in its place. It was the one thing he could control. He started the coffee maker and pulled out bread for sandwiches, turkey and cheese for Jordan, peanut butter and jelly for Layla. He cut them into triangles because Layla said they tasted better that way. He added carrot sticks, apple slices, and a small cookie to each lunchbox. While the coffee brewed, he scrambled eggs and made toast. Simple breakfast, nothing fancy, but it was hot and filling and made with love. By 6:30, he heard movement from the bedrooms. Jordan appeared first, rubbing his eyes and yawning. "Morning, Dad." "Morning, Jay. You sleep okay?" "Yeah." Jordan slumped into a chair at the kitchen table. "We got a math test today. You ready for it?" "I think so. I studied last night." Malik set a plate in front of his son. "You're gonna do great, buddy. I know it." Layla came next, dragging her stuffed bear behind her. She climbed into Malik's lap and buried her face in his chest. "Morning, Princess," Malik said, kissing the top of her head. "Morning, Daddy." Her voice was muffled against his shirt. "You hungry?" She nodded without looking up. Malik smiled and held her close for another moment before setting her in her chair. He placed a plate in front of her, and she picked up her fork with small, careful hands. They ate together in comfortable silence. Malik watched his children and felt the familiar mix of pride and worry that lived permanently in his chest. Pride because they were good kids, smart, kind, resilient. Worry because the world was hard and he was doing this alone. Their mother had left 3 years ago, just packed up one day while he was at work and never came back. No explanation, no goodbye to the kids, just gone. Jordan remembered her. Layla barely did. Malik tried not to be bitter, tried to focus on what they had instead of what they'd lost. But some days it was hard. Dad. Jordan's voice pulled him back to the present. Yeah, buddy? Can I go to Marcus's house after school on Friday? His mom said it's okay if you say yes. Malik thought about it. I'll call her tonight and check. If she's good with it, then yeah. Jordan grinned. Thanks, Dad. After breakfast, Malik helped Layla brush her teeth and put on her shoes. Jordan got himself ready, independent as always. By 7:15, they were out the door and walking to the bus stop 2 blocks away. The morning air was cool and fresh. Malik held Layla's hand while Jordan walked ahead, kicking a pebble along the sidewalk. Daddy? Layla looked up at him with big brown eyes. Yeah, baby. Is Miss Ava coming over this weekend? Malik's heart did a little skip at the mention of Ava's name. I don't know yet, sweetheart. Maybe. I like her. She's nice. Yeah, she is. Ava Reynolds had come into his life 6 months ago. They met at a community event at the park. She was volunteering at the face painting booth, and Layla had begged to get her face painted like a butterfly. Ava had been patient and kind with Layla, chatting with her the whole time. When Layla was done, Ava had looked up at Malik and smiled. Your daughter is beautiful. Thank you, Malik had said, suddenly self-conscious. She gets it from her mama. Ava's smile had widened. I'm sure she gets a lot from her daddy, too. They'd talked for a few minutes, nothing deep, just friendly conversation. But something about her had stayed with him. Her warmth, her easy laugh, the way she looked him in the eye like he mattered. A week later, they'd run into each other at the grocery store, then at the library, then at the coffee shop near his apartment. Eventually, Malik worked up the courage to ask for her number. She'd said yes. Since then, they'd been dating, taking it slow. She'd met the kids a few times, movie nights, dinners at his place, a trip to the zoo. Jordan was cautious around her, protective of his dad and sister. Layla loved her immediately. Malik was falling for her, hard. But there was always a voice in the back of his mind whispering doubts. Was he good enough for her? Ava had a good job in human resources at a downtown firm. She lived in a nice condo with granite countertops and hardwood floors. She wore professional clothes and drove a newer car. Malik fixed buses, lived in a cramped apartment, drove a 15-year-old sedan that rattled when he went over 40. What did he have to offer someone like her? The school bus pulled up, and Malik knelt down to hug both his kids. Love you, he said. Have a good day. Love you too, Daddy, Layla said, squeezing his neck tight. Love you, Dad, Jordan said, giving him a quick side hug before climbing onto the bus. Malik watched the bus drive away, then walked back to his apartment to grab his work bag and head to the depot. The bus depot smelled like oil and metal and hard work. Malik clocked in at 8 and found his assigned bay. Bus 47 needed brake work and an oil change. His co-worker and best friend, Deshaun, was already there, leaning against his own bus with a cup of coffee in hand. Morning, man, Deshaun said with a grin. You look tired. I am tired. Malik grabbed his toolbox. Kids had me up late. Layla had a nightmare. Poor baby. She okay now? Yeah. I stayed with her till she fell back asleep. Deshaun shook his head. I don't know how you do it, man. 2 kids on your own. I can barely handle my dog. Malik laughed. You get used to it. You do what you gotta do. They worked in comfortable silence for a while, the sounds of wrenches and air compressors filling the bay. Around mid-morning, Deshaun spoke up again. So how's things with Ava? Malik paused, wrench in hand. Good, I think. You think? Yeah, I mean, she's great, really great. But sometimes I wonder if she's gonna wake up one day and realize she can do better. Deshaun frowned. Man, what are you talking about? You're a good dude. You got a steady job, you're raising 2 great kids. What's not to like? She's got her life together, D. Nice place, good salary, education. I'm just a mechanic living paycheck to paycheck in a 2-bedroom apartment. So? You think love cares about countertops? Malik wanted to believe that. He really did. But doubt was a hard thing to shake. I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Deshaun set down his tools and looked at Malik seriously. Listen to me. You're enough, just as you are. And if she can't see that, then she's not the one. But don't count her out before you give her a chance to prove herself. Malik nodded slowly. Yeah, you're right. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw a text from Ava. Hey, you free tonight? I'd love to see you. Come over for dinner? Malik smiled despite his worries. Yeah, I can do that. What time? 7. Sounds good. See you then. Deshaun smirked. That her? Yeah. See? Stop worrying so much and just enjoy it. Malik tried to take that advice to heart. He really did. That evening, Malik dropped the kids off with Mrs. Collins, their neighbor who lived 3 doors down. She was in her late 50s, kind and grandmotherly, and she adored Jordan and Layla. You two be good, Malik told his kids. We will, Jordan promised. Have fun, Daddy, Layla said with a knowing smile. Mrs. Collins chuckled. Go on, Malik. Enjoy your evening. These babies will be just fine. Malik drove to Ava's condo on the north side of town. The building was modern with a secure entrance and an elevator that didn't creak. Her place was on the 4th floor, clean and tastefully decorated with soft colors and framed art on the walls. Ava answered the door in jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. She looked beautiful. Hey, she said, smiling wide. Come in. Hey. Malik stepped inside and pulled her into a hug. She smelled like vanilla and something floral. Dinner's almost ready, she said. I made chicken Alfredo. Hope that's okay. That sounds amazing. Thank you. They ate at her small dining table, talking about their days. Ava told him about a difficult employee situation at work. Malik told her about the brake job from hell that took twice as long as it should have. It was easy, comfortable, normal, until it wasn't. So, Ava said as they were clearing the dishes, one of my co-workers just went through a breakup. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. She was dating this guy for like 2 years, but he lost his job a few months ago and just couldn't get it together. She said it was too much stress, too much uncertainty. Malik's hands stilled in the soapy water. She left him because he lost his job? Ava shrugged. I mean, it wasn't just that. It was the instability, the not knowing if he'd bounce back. She said she couldn't build a future with someone who couldn't keep their life together. Malik felt something cold settle in his stomach. That seems kind of harsh. Maybe. But I get it. Life's hard enough without adding someone else's chaos to it. Malik dried his hands slowly, carefully. So you're saying if someone you cared about hit a rough patch, you'd bail? I'm saying I'd have to think about what's best for me, for my future. Ava looked at him, her expression serious. Love is important, Malik, but so is stability. Malik nodded, but his mind was spinning. He finished helping with the dishes, then made an excuse about needing to get home to the kids. Ava kissed him goodbye at the door. Text me when you get home? Yeah, I will. He drove home in silence, her words replaying in his mind. Life's hard enough without adding someone else's chaos to it. Was that how she saw him? As potential chaos? As a risk? By the time he picked up the kids and got them home, the doubt had grown into something bigger, something darker. What if he lost his job? What if something happened and he couldn't provide? Would Ava see him as a liability? Would she walk away like Jordan and Layla's mother had? He needed to know. He needed to know if her feelings for him were conditional, if her love came with terms and conditions, and there was only one way to find out. The next evening, Malik went back to Ava's place. The kids were with Mrs. Collins again. His heart pounded as he knocked on her door. Ava answered with a smile. "Hey, you. I wasn't expecting you tonight." "Yeah, I know. Sorry, I needed to talk to you." Her smile faded slightly. "Okay, come in." They sat on her couch, and Malik tried to steady his breathing. "Is everything okay?" Ava asked, concern in her eyes. Malik looked at her. At this woman he was falling for, and he made a decision he would regret. "I got fired today." Ava's face went blank. "What?" "They let me go, budget cuts or something. I don't know, they said I'm done." It was a lie, a complete lie, but Malik needed to see how she'd react, needed to know if she'd stand by him or run. Ava stared at him, her mouth slightly open. "Malik, wow, I don't know what to say." "Say you're here for me. Say we'll figure it out together." But she didn't say that. Instead, she said, "This is a lot to process. I need some time to think." "Think about what?" "About everything. About what this means." Malik felt like he'd been punched in the chest. "What it means. Ava, I lost my job. I didn't commit a crime. I know, I need space to process this. Can you give me that?" Malik stood up slowly. "Yeah, I can give you that." He left her apartment feeling sick. Sick with himself for lying. Sick with the realization that maybe Deshawn was wrong. Maybe love did care about countertops after all. That night, Malik lay in bed staring at the ceiling. He couldn't sleep. Couldn't quiet his mind. What had he done? He'd lied to test someone's love, and now he was caught in his own trap. Around midnight, he heard his bedroom door creak open. Jordan stood there in his pajamas, silhouetted by the hallway light. "Dad? You okay?" Malik sat up. "Yeah, buddy. Just can't sleep. What are you doing up?" Jordan came into the room and sat on the edge of the bed. "I heard you walking around. You only do that when something's wrong." Malik's heart ached. His son was too perceptive, too aware. "I'm fine, Jay. Just got some stuff on my mind." "Is it about Miss Ava?" "Why would you think that?" Jordan shrugged. "You always seem worried after you see her, like you're waiting for something bad to happen." Malik didn't know what to say to that. Jordan looked at him seriously. "Dad, if she makes you worry all the time, maybe she's not the right person." "It's not that simple, buddy." "Why not?" Because relationships are complicated." "They shouldn't be. Mom leaving was complicated. You and us? That's simple. We love each other. We show up. That's it." Malik pulled his son into a hug. "When did you get so smart?" "I pay attention." They sat together in the quiet darkness, and Malik made a silent promise to himself. He'd fix this, somehow. He'd tell Ava the truth and deal with the consequences. But first, he needed to know what those consequences would be. He needed to know who Ava really was when things got hard. And tomorrow, he'd find out. The next morning came too soon. Malik woke up exhausted, his mind still churning from the night before. He went through the motions, breakfast, lunches, getting the kids ready for school. But everything felt off, like he was watching himself from a distance. Jordan kept giving him concerned looks. Layla seemed to sense something was wrong, too. She was quieter than usual, clinging to Malik's hand a little tighter as they walked to the bus stop. "Daddy, are you sick?" she asked, looking up at him with worried eyes. "No, baby. Just tired. I'll be okay. Promise. Promise." But he wasn't sure he believed it himself. After dropping the kids at the bus stop, Malik went to work. He moved through his shift like a zombie, barely talking to anyone. Deshawn noticed but didn't push, just stayed nearby in case Malik needed him. Around lunchtime, Malik's phone buzzed. A text from Ava. "Can we talk?" I've been thinking about what you told me. Malik's stomach dropped. This was it, the moment of truth. Yeah? When? Tonight? Can you come over after work? Okay. I'll be there around 6. The rest of the day dragged. Every minute felt like an hour. Malik's mind raced with possibilities. Would she end things? Would she offer support, but with conditions? Would she surprise him? He didn't know which outcome scared him more. At 5:30, Malik left the depot and drove straight to Ava's place. He didn't go home to shower or change. Didn't have the energy to pretend everything was normal. Ava answered the door looking tired, too, like she hadn't slept well either. "Hey," she said softly. "Come in." They sat on her couch, the same spot where Malik had delivered his lie the night before. The air between them felt heavy. Ava spoke first. "I've been thinking about what you said, about losing your job. Yeah? And I want to help. I really do." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "I think I know someone who might be hiring. I could make some calls, put in a good word." Malik waited for more. For something that sounded like partnership, like we're in this together. But she continued. "And maybe while you're looking, it would be good to, I don't know, take a step back from us? Just until things are more stable." There it was, the truth he'd been dreading. "A step back," Malik repeated, his voice flat. "Just temporarily. I mean, you're going to have a lot on your plate. Job hunting, taking care of the kids. Adding relationship stress on top of that doesn't seem fair to either of us. So when things are hard, we just stop?" Ava's eyes flashed with something, defensiveness maybe. "That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we should be practical, smart about this." "And what happens when the next hard thing comes? Do we take another step back? And another? Until there's nothing left? Malik, that's not fair. What's not fair is measuring someone's worth by their job status." Malik stood up, unable to sit still anymore. "I thought you knew me better than that. I do know you, but I also know what it's like to struggle. My parents went through bankruptcy when I was a kid. I watched them tear each other apart over money. I swore I'd never put myself in that position." Malik looked at her, really looked at her. He saw the fear there, the old wounds, and he almost understood. Almost. "So you'd rather be alone than risk being hurt?" "I'd rather be smart than sorry." Malik felt something break inside him. Not anger, not even disappointment. Just clarity. "Okay," he said quietly. "I hear you. So you understand?" "Yeah, I understand." He grabbed his jacket. "I should go." "Malik, wait." "No, it's fine. You've been honest. I appreciate that." He headed for the door, then stopped. "For what it's worth, I wasn't looking for you to fix this. I was just looking for you to stay." He left before she could respond. Malik drove around for a while, not ready to go home yet, not ready to face Mrs. Collins's knowing eyes or his children's questions. He ended up at a park near his apartment. It was nearly empty. Just a few joggers and a woman walking her dog. Malik sat on a bench and stared at nothing. His phone buzzed. Ava again. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just need time to think about what I can handle right now." Malik didn't respond. What was there to say? Another text came through, this time from Deshaun. "You good, man? You seemed off today." Malik typed back. "Not really, but I will be. You need to talk?" "Not yet. Maybe later. All right. I'm here when you're ready." Malik put his phone away and sat in the quiet. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Beautiful. Indifferent. He thought about what Jordan had said last night. If she makes you worry all the time, maybe she's not the right person. His 10-year-old son had seen what Malik had been too afraid to admit, that this relationship had always felt conditional, that he'd always been waiting for the other shoe to drop. And now it had. The worst part? He'd set the trap himself. When Malik finally got home, it was almost 8. Mrs. Collins answered his knock with a gentle smile. Kids are fed and in their pajamas. Jordan did his homework. Layla drew you a picture. Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Mrs. Collins studied his face. You want to talk about it? Not tonight, but thank you. She patted his arm. When you're ready, then. My door's always open. Malik found his kids in the living room. Jordan was reading on the couch. Layla was coloring at the coffee table. Daddy! Layla jumped up and ran to him, wrapping her arms around his legs. I missed you! I missed you too, princess. He picked her up and kissed her cheek. Mrs. Collins said you drew me a picture? Uh-huh. It's a rainbow, because rainbows make people happy. Malik's throat tightened. It's beautiful, baby. Thank you. He set her down and looked at Jordan, who was watching him carefully. You okay, Dad? Yeah, buddy, I'm okay. But Jordan didn't look convinced. They went through the evening routine, teeth brushing, story time, goodnight hugs. By 9:30, both kids were in bed. Malik stood in the hallway between their rooms, listening to their quiet breathing. These two, his whole world, the only love that had never felt conditional. His phone buzzed again. He pulled it out, expecting another message from Ava, but it was from a number he didn't recognize. Hey, Malik, this is Ava's sister, Diane. I know this is weird, but I wanted you to know that Ava called me tonight. She's really torn up about what happened. She cares about you. She's just scared. Malik stared at the message. He didn't know Diane well, had only met her once at a family barbecue Ava had invited him to. Why was she reaching out? Another message came through. She told me about you losing your job. I wanted to say I'm sorry, and that I think you're good for her. She just needs time to see it too. Malik almost laughed. Almost. Instead, he typed back a simple, thanks. He didn't have the energy to explain that none of this was real, that he'd created this whole situation out of fear and insecurity. He sat on the couch in the dark living room and let himself feel everything he'd been holding back. The shame of lying, the hurt of Ava's reaction, the anger at himself for testing her in the first place, and underneath it all, a deeper fear. What if she was right? What if he really did lose his job someday? What if he couldn't provide for his kids? What if he failed them the way their mother had? Jordan appeared in the hallway, silhouetted by the nightlight from Layla's room. Dad, you're doing it again, the walking around thing. Malik hadn't even realized he'd stood up. Sorry, buddy, didn't mean to wake you. Jordan came and sat on the couch. What's wrong? Nothing you need to worry about. Is it Miss Ava? Malik sighed. No point in lying to his son. The kid could read him like a book. Yeah, things aren't great right now. Because of the thing you're worried about? Malik looked at Jordan in the dim light. What thing? The thing that makes you pace. The thing that keeps you up at night. Jordan picked at a loose thread on the couch cushion. You think you're not good enough. For her. For us. For anyone. Malik felt like he'd been punched in the chest. Jordan. But you are good enough, Dad. You're the best dad. You work hard and you make us breakfast and you help with homework and you're always here. Always. That's what matters. Malik pulled his son close. When did you get so wise? Mom leaving taught me stuff. Taught me that people who really love you don't leave when things get hard. They stay. They sat together in the quiet darkness. Malik held his son and tried not to cry. You're right, he finally said. You're absolutely right. So what are you going to do about Miss Ava? I don't know yet, buddy, but I'll figure it out. Okay. Can I tell you something? Always. I don't think she's good enough for you. I think you deserve someone who sees how great you are. Malik's heart broke and healed at the same time. Thank you, Jay. That means everything. They sat a little longer before Malik sent Jordan back to bed. Alone again, Malik pulled out his phone and looked at Ava's messages. Part of him wanted to call her, wanted to confess everything and see if they could start over. But another part, the part that was tired of proving his worth, wanted to let it end. He put the phone away without responding. Tomorrow he'd figure out what to do. Tomorrow he'd face the consequences of his choices. Tonight he'd just sit in the dark and let himself feel. The next day was Saturday. No work, no school. Just Malik and the kids and a whole day stretching ahead of them. Malik made pancakes for breakfast. Layla wanted chocolate chips in hers. Jordan wanted blueberries. Malik made both, plus plain ones for himself. They ate together at their small kitchen table, and for a moment, everything felt normal. "Can we go to the park today?" Layla asked through a mouthful of pancake. "Sure, baby, after we clean up the apartment." "Do we have to?" Jordan groaned. "Yes, we have to. Come on, it won't take long if we all help." They spent the morning tidying up. Jordan vacuumed while Layla picked up her toys. Malik did laundry and dishes. By noon, the apartment looked presentable. They walked to the park, the same one where Malik had sat alone the night before. In daylight, with his kids running ahead of him, it looked completely different, full of life and possibility. Layla headed straight for the swings. Jordan made for the basketball court where some older kids were playing. "Stay where I can see you," Malik called after him. "I will." Malik pushed Layla on the swing, listening to her delighted squeals of, "Higher, Daddy, higher!" His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out with one hand while pushing the swing with the other. "Ava, can we please talk? I feel terrible about how things ended. I want to explain better." Malik stared at the message. His thumb hovered over the keyboard. Before he could respond, another text came through. "I care about you, Malik. A lot. I'm just scared. Please don't give up on us." Scared. That word again. Malik thought about what Mrs. Collins had said once, weeks ago when he'd first started dating Ava. "Love is a risk, baby. Always has been. The question is whether someone's worth the risk." Was Ava worth it? More importantly, was he willing to keep pretending he'd lost his job just to see how she'd react? "Daddy, you stop pushing!" Layla's voice broke through his thoughts. "Sorry, princess." He gave her another push and put his phone away. He'd deal with Ava later. Right now, his daughter needed him to be present. They stayed at the park for 2 hours. Layla played on every piece of equipment. Jordan joined a pickup basketball game and actually made a few good shots. Malik sat on a bench and watched them, his heart full despite the weight of everything else. On the walk home, Layla held his hand and chattered about the butterfly she'd seen. Jordan walked beside them quietly, occasionally glancing at his dad. "You seem better today," Jordan finally said. "I am better. Being with you two helps." "Good." Back at the apartment, Malik made grilled cheese sandwiches for lunch. They ate together, then settled in for a movie. Some animated thing about talking animals that Layla loved and Jordan pretended to be too old for but secretly enjoyed. Malik sat between his kids on the couch, an arm around each of them, and felt something shift inside him. Peace, maybe, or clarity. He didn't need to prove anything to Ava. Didn't need to test her or convince her of his worth. What he needed was to be honest. With her, with himself, with his kids. The lie he'd told was eating him up inside. It was affecting how he saw himself, how he interacted with Ava, maybe even how Jordan and Layla saw relationships. He had to come clean. The question was how, and whether Ava would forgive him for it. That evening, after the kids were in bed, Malik finally called Ava. She answered on the second ring. "Malik, hi." "Hey, I'm glad you called. I've been wanting to talk." "Yeah, me too." Malik took a breath. "Can I come over? Tomorrow night, maybe? I need to talk to you about something." "Of course." "Is everything okay?" "It will be, I hope. I need to be honest with you about some things." There was a pause. "Okay, that sounds serious." "It is, but it needs to happen." Tomorrow at 7? Yeah, I'll be there. After they hung up, Malik sat on the couch and tried to prepare himself for what was coming. Tomorrow he'd tell her the truth, that he'd lied about losing his job, that he'd tested her, that he'd been wrong, and then he'd see what happened next. Maybe she'd forgive him, maybe she wouldn't. Either way, he'd know, and knowing even when it hurt was better than living in uncertainty. Jordan appeared in the hallway again. Malik almost laughed. The kid had radar for his father's distress. "You're up late, buddy." Couldn't sleep. Jordan sat next to him on the couch. "You gonna tell her the truth?" Malik looked at his son in surprise. "About what?" "About whatever you're not telling her. I don't know what it is, but I know you're keeping something from her. You have that guilty face." Malik shook his head in amazement. "You're too smart for your own good." "So are you gonna tell her?" "Yeah, I am." "Good. Secrets are bad for relationships. That's what Mom used to say, before she became the biggest secret keeper of all." The bitterness in Jordan's voice surprised Malik. His son rarely talked about his mother, and when he did, it was usually matter of fact, not emotional. "You angry at your mom?" Malik asked gently. Jordan shrugged. "Sometimes. She left without saying why, just gone. That's a pretty big secret to keep." "Yeah, it is." "So don't do that to Miss Ava, or to us. Tell the truth, even when it's hard." Malik pulled his son close. "You're right. I will." "Promise. Promise." They sat together in the quiet apartment, father and son, both carrying wounds from the past and trying to navigate the future. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, its own truths. But tonight, they had each other. And sometimes, that was enough. Sunday dragged by slower than any day Malik could remember. He took the kids to church in the morning, something he did most Sundays, finding comfort in the familiar hymns and the sense of community. Mrs. Collins sat with them like she usually did, and Layla fell asleep against Malik's side during the sermon. After church, they went to the grocery store. Malik pushed the cart while Jordan helped find items on the list, and Layla rode in the seat, pointing out things she wanted but knew they couldn't afford. "Daddy, can we get the cookies with the dinosaurs on them?" "Not this week, baby. We've got cookies at home." "But these are special cookies." "Our cookies are special too." She pouted for about 30 seconds, then moved on to asking about something else. Malik watched his daughter's easy resilience and wished he could bottle it. Wished he could face disappointment with that same quick recovery. At the checkout, Jordan helped bag groceries without being asked. The cashier smiled at them. "You've got good kids," she said. "Thank you, I'm lucky." "They're lucky too. You can tell when a dad shows up." The words hit Malik harder than they should have. Shows up. That's all he'd ever tried to do. Show up. Be present. Be there even when he was tired. Even when money was tight. Even when he felt like he was failing. Was that enough? Or did love require more than just showing up? Back at the apartment, Malik made lunch while the kids put away groceries. Sandwiches and chips and apple slices. Simple. Easy. His phone sat on the counter. Silent. Ava hadn't texted since their brief call last night. Neither had he. Tonight at 7, he'd go to her place. He'd tell her the truth. And then, well, he didn't know what came after that. The uncertainty gnawed at him. "Dad?" Jordan set a box of cereal in the pantry. "You're doing the staring thing again." "Sorry, buddy." "You nervous about tonight?" "Yeah, pretty nervous." "What are you going to say to her?" Malik thought about it. The truth. All of it. And what if she gets mad? Then she gets mad. I deserve it. Jordan studied his father's face. But what if she breaks up with you? Then I'll be sad, but I'll be okay. We'll all be okay. Promise? Promise. Layla appeared from the living room where she'd been watching cartoons. "Are you and Miss Ava breaking up?" Malik's heart sank. He hadn't meant for her to overhear. I don't know, Princess. Maybe. We'll see. Layla's bottom lip trembled. But I like her. I know you do. Is it because of me? Did I do something wrong? No, baby, no. Malik scooped her up and held her close. This has nothing to do with you. Adult relationships are complicated sometimes, but no matter what happens with Miss Ava, you and me and Jordan, we're solid, okay? Okay, she whispered against his shoulder. They ate lunch together, and Malik tried to keep the conversation light. He asked about their favorite parts of church, about what they wanted to do next weekend, about anything except Ava and tonight and the truth he had to tell. After lunch, the kids played in their room while Malik cleaned the kitchen. He moved slowly, methodically, trying to quiet his racing mind. Around 3 o'clock, Mrs. Collins knocked on the door. "Just checking in," she said when Malik answered. "You looked troubled at church this morning." "I'm all right. Just got something difficult I need to do tonight." "With that young lady of yours?" "Yeah." Mrs. Collins stepped inside and closed the door behind her. "Can I give you some old lady wisdom?" "Always." "Truth is like medicine. Sometimes it tastes bitter going down, but it heals what needs healing. Lies, on the other hand, they might feel like protection, but they're really just poison working slow." Malik nodded. "I know. That's why I'm telling her the truth tonight." "Good. And whatever happens after that, you hold your head high. A man who owns his mistakes is worth 10 men who pretend they're perfect." After she left, Malik sat on the couch and thought about her words. Truth is like medicine. He hoped Ava would see it that way. At 6:30, Malik showered and changed into clean jeans and a button-down shirt. He stood in front of the bathroom mirror, practicing what he'd say. "Ava, I need to tell you something. I lied about losing my job. I still work at the depot. I made it up because I wanted to see how you'd react. I know that was wrong. I'm sorry." It sounded terrible out loud. Worse than it had in his head. But it was the truth, and he had to say it. Jordan appeared in the doorway. "You look nice." "Thanks, buddy. You ready?" "As ready as I'm gonna be." "Want me to tell you it'll be okay?" Malik smiled sadly. "Would you mean it?" "No, but I could say it anyway. I appreciate the honesty." Layla came running down the hall. "Daddy, you're leaving?" "Yeah, baby. Mrs. Collins is coming over to stay with you guys. Can I give you a hug for good luck?" Malik knelt down and let his daughter wrap her arms around his neck. She squeezed tight, and he felt tears prick his eyes. "I love you, Princess." "Love you too, Daddy. Tell Miss Ava I said hi." "I will." Mrs. Collins arrived a few minutes later. Malik gave both kids extra long hugs, then headed out into the cool evening air. The drive to Ava's place felt both too long and too short. His hands gripped the steering wheel tight, and his stomach churned with anxiety. He parked in the visitor spot and sat in his car for a moment, gathering courage. This was it. No turning back now. He got out and walked to her building, rode the elevator to the 4th floor, and knocked on her door. Ava answered wearing jeans and a soft sweater. She looked beautiful, nervous. "Hey," she said. "Come in." The apartment smelled like coffee and vanilla candles. Ava had set out mugs on the coffee table, a subtle gesture that made Malik's guilt intensify. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, a careful distance between them. "So," Ava said, "you wanted to talk?" "Yeah." Malik took a breath. "I need to tell you something, and it's not going to be easy to hear." "Okay." Her voice was cautious, guarded. "I lied to you about losing my job. I didn't get fired. I still work at the depot. I made it up." Ava stared at him, her expression unreadable. "You... what?" "I lied. I wanted to see how you'd react. I wanted to know if you'd stick with me when things got hard." The silence that followed was deafening. Ava's face went through several emotions: confusion, hurt, anger. She stood up and walked to the window, her back to him. "Let me get this straight," she said, her voice tight. You made up a crisis to test me? Yes. Why would you do that? Because I was scared. Because you said that thing about your coworker leaving her boyfriend when he lost his job, and it made me wonder if you'd do the same to me. Ava turned to face him, and Malik saw tears in her eyes. So instead of talking to me about your fears, you lied? You manipulated a situation to see how I'd behave? I know it was wrong. Wrong? Her voice rose. Malik, that's not just wrong. That's cruel. Do you know how I've been feeling? I've been tearing myself apart trying to figure out how to help you, wondering if I was being selfish for wanting to protect myself, questioning everything about who I am and what I can handle. I'm sorry. And it was all a lie? All of it? Malik stood up. My feelings weren't a lie. My fear was real. I went about it the wrong way. The wrong way? Ava laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's an understatement. I know I messed up. But I need you to understand. Your reaction proved I was right to be scared. Ava's eyes widened. Excuse me. When I told you I lost my job, you asked for space. You wanted to step back. That told me everything I needed to know about how conditional your feelings are. Conditional? Ava's voice shook. You tested me, Malik. You set me up to fail, and now you're using my honest reaction against me? Your honest reaction was to bail when things got hard. No. My honest reaction was to be scared and need time to process. That's human. That's real. But you didn't give me a chance to work through it. You just judged me and confirmed whatever story you'd already decided about me. The words hit Malik like a slap. He opened his mouth to respond, but Ava wasn't done. You know what the worst part is? I was going to call you tomorrow. I was going to tell you that I'd been thinking about what I said, and I was wrong. That I wanted to be there for you, job or no job, because that's what you do when you care about someone. Malik felt his stomach drop. Ava, but I don't get to show you that, do I? Because this whole thing was fake. You took away my chance to prove myself. You took away my agency. You decided who I was without giving me a fair shot. Malik hadn't thought about it that way, hadn't considered that his test had been just as unfair as her initial reaction. I'm sorry, he said quietly. You're right. I shouldn't have done that. No, you shouldn't have. Ava wiped her eyes. And the fact that you did tells me you don't actually trust me. Maybe you never did. That's not true, isn't it? Because people who trust each other don't set traps. They don't lie to see how their partner will react. They talk. They communicate. They give each other the benefit of the doubt. Malik felt everything inside him crumbling. She was right. About all of it. I was wrong, he said. I see that now. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ava sat back down on the couch, her head in her hands. When she looked up, her face was streaked with tears. I care about you, Malik. I really do. But I don't know if I can be with someone who doesn't trust me, who tests me instead of talking to me. I do trust you. No, you don't. And maybe I gave you reasons not to. Maybe I said the wrong things. Maybe I was too focused on protecting myself. But instead of telling me that, you chose deception. They sat in heavy silence. Malik felt like he was watching his relationship die in real time, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. What do we do now? He finally asked. Ava looked at him with sad eyes. I don't know. I need time to think. Real time. Not manipulated time where I'm being tested without knowing it. Okay. And I need you to think too. About why you did this. About what that says about how you see love and trust and relationships. Malik nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. He stood to leave. At the door, he turned back. For what it's worth, I meant it when I said I care about you. That part was never a lie. I know, Ava said softly, but sometimes caring isn't enough. The drive home was a blur. Malik's eyes burned with unshed tears. His chest felt tight, like someone was sitting on it. He'd known the truth might hurt, but he hadn't expected this. Hadn't expected Ava to turn the mirror back on him and show him his own flaws so clearly. She was right, about all of it. He'd tested her because he didn't trust her. And he'd used her imperfect initial reaction as proof that he'd been right not to trust her, without ever giving her a chance to grow or change or show up differently. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy, a trap he'd set for both of them. When Malik got home, Mrs. Collins took one look at his face and pulled him into a hug. "Oh, baby," she said softly. "It didn't go well." "No, ma'am, it didn't." "You told her the truth?" "I did. And she told me some truths right back." Mrs. Collins pulled away and looked him in the eye. "Good truths or hard truths?" "Hard ones, but necessary." "Then you got some thinking to do." "Yes, ma'am." After Mrs. Collins left, Malik checked on the kids. Both were asleep, or pretending to be. He suspected Jordan was awake, but giving him space. Malik went to his own room and sat on the edge of the bed. He pulled out his phone and looked at it, half expecting a text from Ava. Nothing. He thought about texting her, apologizing again, trying to fix this. But maybe some things couldn't be fixed. Maybe some mistakes were too big. A soft knock on the door made him look up. Jordan stood there in his pajamas. "I knew you were awake," Malik said. Couldn't sleep. Jordan came and sat next to him. "How did it go?" "Not great, buddy." "Did you tell her the truth?" "I did." And she was hurt. Angry. She said I don't trust her." "Do you?" Malik thought about it. Really thought about it. "I don't know. I thought I did, but maybe she's right. Maybe I've been so scared of getting hurt that I never really let myself trust her." Jordan was quiet for a moment. "Mom hurt us pretty bad when she left." "Yeah, she did. And it made you scared. Scared that everyone leaves eventually." Malik looked at his son in amazement. "How do you know that?" "Because I feel it too sometimes. Like when you go on dates with Miss Ava. Part of me wonders if you're gonna leave too. I know you won't. But I still think it." Malik pulled Jordan close. "I'm never leaving you, buddy. Never. You and Layla are my whole world. I know. And Miss Ava probably wasn't going to leave you either. But you thought she might, so you made it happen anyway." The simple truth of his son's words cut deep. "You're right," Malik said quietly. "That's exactly what I did." "So what are you going to do now?" "I don't know. Give her space like she asked. Think about what she said. Try to be better. And if she doesn't come back, then I'll be sad. But I'll survive. We'll survive." Jordan leaned against his dad. "You're a good dad. Even when you mess up with other stuff, you're still a good dad." Malik felt tears finally fall. "Thank you, buddy. That means everything." They sat together in the quiet room, father and son, both carrying their own fears and wounds, both trying to figure out how to love without being afraid. Eventually, Jordan went back to bed. Malik lay down fully clothed and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow he'd go to work. He'd face Deshaun's questions. He'd come home and make dinner and help with homework and be the dad his kids needed. But tonight, he let himself feel the weight of what he'd lost. Not just Ava, but the version of himself he thought he was. The version that was honest and trustworthy and good. He'd have to build that person back from scratch. Had to figure out how to love without fear. Had to learn to trust, even when trust felt dangerous. It wouldn't be easy. But maybe, just maybe, it would be worth it. Malik closed his eyes and tried to sleep. Tomorrow would come whether he was ready or not. And somehow he'd face it. He always did. Monday morning came gray and cold. Malik woke before his alarm, groggy and heavy-hearted. For a moment he forgot why his chest felt so tight. Then it all came rushing back, the conversation with Ava, her tears, the way she'd looked at him when she said caring wasn't always enough. He lay there for another minute, gathering the strength to face the day. Then he got up and started the routine: breakfast, lunches, getting the kids ready. Jordan watched him carefully at the table, not saying much. Layla chattered about a dream she'd had about flying unicorns, blissfully unaware of the heaviness in the air. "You okay, Daddy?" she asked between bites of cereal. "I'm okay, baby girl. Just tired." "You're always tired. That's what happens when you're a grown-up." At the bus stop, both kids hugged him extra tight before getting on. Jordan whispered, "It'll get better, Dad." Malik hoped he was right. At the depot, Deshaun was waiting by Malik's assigned bay with 2 cups of coffee. "You look like hell," Deshaun said, handing him one. "Thanks." "So what happened? You've been weird all week." Malik took a long sip of coffee, then told Deshaun everything. The test. Ava's reaction, the confrontation last night, his friend's words about self-fulfilling prophecies. Deshaun listened without interrupting. When Malik finished, he let out a low whistle. "Man, that's heavy." "Yeah. So what are you gonna do?" "Nothing. She asked for space. I'm giving it to her. And after that, I don't know. Maybe nothing comes after. Maybe I messed it up too bad." Deshaun leaned against the bus. "Can I be real with you? Always. You did mess up. Pretty bad. But she wasn't perfect either. That comment about her coworker? That was harsh, man. And wanting to step back when things got hard? That says something too. But I didn't give her a chance to do better. No, you didn't. And that was wrong. But don't take all the blame here. Relationships are two-way streets. She's got her own stuff to work on." Malik hadn't thought about it that way. He'd been so focused on his own mistakes that he hadn't considered that maybe they both had growing to do. "So what do I do?" "You give her space like she asked. You work on yourself. You figure out why you're so scared of being loved. And if she comes back, you both decide if you can do better together. If she doesn't..." Deshaun shrugged. "Then you know it wasn't meant to be. That simple." "That's simple. Not easy, but simple." They worked in comfortable silence for a while. Around lunch, Malik's phone buzzed. His heart jumped. Maybe it was Ava. But it was Mrs. Collins. Layla's school called. "She's in the nurse's office with a stomachache. They want you to pick her up." Malik's chest tightened. "On my way," he told his supervisor and left immediately. 20 minutes later, he was at the elementary school signing Layla out at the front office. She looked small and pale sitting on the nurse's cot, her stuffed bear clutched to her chest. "Hey, princess. You feeling bad?" She nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. The nurse pulled Malik aside. "She doesn't have a fever. I think it might be anxiety-related. Has anything stressful happened at home recently?" Malik's guilt doubled. "Yeah, some stuff with my girlfriend. Well, ex-girlfriend now, I guess." The nurse nodded sympathetically. "Kids pick up on more than we think. Might be good to talk to her about it." Malik signed the release forms and carried Layla to the car. She stayed quiet the whole drive home, her head resting against his shoulder. Back at the apartment, he settled her on the couch with a blanket and some ginger ale. "You want to tell me what's really wrong, baby girl?" Layla's bottom lip trembled. "My tummy hurts." "I know, but the nurse said you're not sick. She thinks maybe you're worried about something." Fresh tears fell. "Are you sad because of Miss Ava?" Malik's heart broke. "Yeah, sweetheart, I am a little sad." "Is it my fault? Because I said I liked her?" "No, baby, no. This has nothing to do with you. Grown-up relationships are complicated. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But I don't want you to be sad." Malik pulled her onto his lap. "I know, but it's okay to be sad sometimes. Sad is just part of life. The important thing is that we're honest about our feelings and we take care of each other. Okay, will you find a new girlfriend? Maybe someday, or maybe not. Either way, I've got you and Jordan. That's enough for me. Promise? Promise. Layla was quiet for a moment. Then, Daddy, can I tell you a secret? Always. Sometimes I'm scared you're going to leave like Mommy did. The words hit Malik like a physical blow. He'd known Jordan had those fears, but he hadn't realized Layla did too. Oh, baby. He held her tight. I am never ever leaving you. Never. You are stuck with me forever and ever, no matter what. Even if you get a new girlfriend? Even then. Even if I get married again someday and have more kids, and we move to a different house and everything changes, you and Jordan will always, always be my most important people. Nothing can change that. Okay. She snuggled closer. My tummy feels a little better now. They spent the rest of the afternoon on the couch watching cartoons. Around 3, Jordan got home from school and immediately assessed the situation. Layla got sent home? He asked. Stomachache, Malik explained. Jordan looked at his sister, then at his dad. Understanding dawned in his eyes. The worried kind? Yeah. Jordan sat on the other side of Layla. I get those too sometimes. You do? Layla looked at her brother in surprise. Yeah, usually when I'm scared about something but don't want to say it out loud. What are you scared of? Jordan glanced at Malik, then back at his sister. Lots of things. People leaving, Dad getting hurt, not having enough money for stuff. Normal stuff. I'm scared of those things too. I know, but we're okay. We've got each other, and Dad's not going anywhere. They sat together on the couch, all 3 of them, and Malik felt something shift. His kids were carrying fears he'd thought he'd hidden from them. They were worried about things they shouldn't have to worry about. He needed to do better, not just in his relationships with other adults, but in how he showed up for Jordan and Layla. Listen, Malik said, both of you. I need to tell you something important. They looked at him with matching serious expressions. I know I've been sad and distracted lately, and I know that makes you worry, but that's not fair to you. You shouldn't have to take care of my feelings. That's my job as the dad. But we want to help, Jordan said. I know, and I appreciate that. But from now on, I'm going to be better about not letting my stuff affect you guys. When I'm sad, I'll tell you, but I won't make you fix it. What about Miss Ava? Layla asked. What about her? Are you going to fix it with her? Malik thought about it. I don't know, Princess. Maybe, maybe not. But either way, I'll be okay. And you two will be okay. We're a team, right? Right, they said together. That evening, after dinner and homework and bedtime stories, Malik sat alone in the living room. His phone sat on the coffee table, silent. Part of him wanted to text Ava, wanted to apologize again, explain better, try to make things right. But another part, the part that was learning to sit with discomfort, knew that some things needed time, that healing couldn't be rushed. His phone buzzed, his heart jumped. It was Ava. I've been thinking a lot about our conversation. Can we talk tomorrow? Not to get back together necessarily, just to talk honestly. Malik stared at the message. Tomorrow. Another conversation. More honesty. He typed back, yes. When and where? That park near your place? Around 7? I'll be there. He put the phone down and took a deep breath. Tomorrow he'd face Ava again. Face whatever she had to say. Face the possibility of endings or new beginnings or something in between. But tonight he was okay. His kids were safe. His apartment was quiet. His heart was heavy but healing. That was enough for now. Tuesday dragged by in slow motion. Malik went through the motions at work. Oil changes, brake repairs, routine maintenance. His hands knew what to do even when his mind was elsewhere. Deshawn checked on him twice. You good? Getting there. At 5 o'clock, Malik clocked out and headed home. Mrs. Collins agreed to watch the kids for an hour while he met Ava. You want me to pray for you? She asked. Couldn't hurt. At 6:50, Malik walked to the park. It was the same one where he'd sat alone just days ago, the same one where he'd pushed Layla on the swings last Saturday. Ava was already there, sitting on a bench near the playground. She looked tired. Beautiful, but tired. Malik sat down next to her, leaving a respectful distance between them. "Hey," he said. "Hey." They sat in silence for a moment. Kids played in the distance. A dog barked somewhere. Life continued around them. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Ava finally said, "about what you did, about what I said, about all of it." "Me too. And I realize we both messed up, in different ways, but we both contributed to this." Malik nodded. "Yeah, we did. I shouldn't have said that thing about my coworker, not the way I did. It was judgmental and harsh, and it revealed some of my own fears about financial instability. And I shouldn't have tested you. It was manipulative and unfair." "It was." Ava looked at him. "But I understand why you did it. I do. You were scared, and instead of being vulnerable with me about that fear, you tried to protect yourself. That doesn't make it right." "No, it doesn't. But it makes it human." She paused. "Malik, I care about you. I really do. But I don't know if we're good for each other." The words hit hard, but Malik had been expecting them. "Why not?" "Because we're both so scared of being hurt that we hurt each other first. You test me. I pull back. It's a cycle, and I don't know if we can break it. We could try. We could. But I think we both need to work on ourselves first. You need to figure out how to trust people. And I need to figure out how to be brave when things get hard." Malik felt tears threatening but held them back. "So this is it? We're done?" "I think so, at least for now." Ava's voice cracked. "Maybe someday, if we both grow and change, we could try again. But right now, I think we just keep hurting each other." She was right. Malik knew she was right, but it still hurt like hell. "I'm sorry," he said, "for everything." "I'm sorry, too." Ava wiped her eyes. "For not being brave enough, for letting my fears control me, for not fighting harder for us." "You don't have anything to apologize for." "Yes, I do. We both do. That's the whole point." They sat together as the sun started to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Two people who cared about each other but couldn't make it work. Not yet, anyway. "Can I ask you something?" Malik said. "Anything. If I hadn't tested you, if I'd just been honest about my fears from the beginning, do you think we could have made it?" Ava thought about it. "Honestly? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe we would have found some other way to mess it up. We both have work to do, Malik. That's not your fault or mine. It just is." "Yeah." Ava stood up. "I should go, but I want you to know something." "What?" "You're a good man, a good father. Any woman would be lucky to have you. You just need to believe that about yourself." "You're pretty great, too," Malik said. "You just need to be brave enough to let someone in, really in." She smiled sadly. "We're quite a pair, aren't we?" "Yeah, we are." Ava leaned down and kissed his cheek. "Take care of yourself, Malik. And those beautiful kids of yours." "You too, Ava. Take care." She walked away, and Malik stayed on the bench watching the sunset. He felt sad, relieved, empty, full, all at once. It was over. Really over. But somehow, he was okay. When Malik got home, Jordan and Layla were waiting on the couch. Mrs. Collins had clearly warned them to be gentle. "How did it go?" Jordan asked carefully. "We broke up. For real this time." Layla's face crumpled. "I'm sorry, Daddy." "It's okay, baby girl. It's sad, but it's okay." "Are you going to be sad forever?" "No, just for a little while, and then I'll be okay again." Jordan studied his face. "You seem different, not as worried." Malik thought about that. "Yeah, I think I am different. I think I learned something important." "What?" That I can't control whether people stay or leave. All I can control is how I show up, how honest I am, how brave I am. The rest is up to them. That's deep, Dad. Malik laughed. Yeah, I guess it is. They spent the evening together, the three of them. They played a board game that Layla kept changing the rules to. They made popcorn and watched a movie. They were a family, incomplete in some ways, but complete in the ways that mattered. Later, after the kids were in bed, Malik sat on his couch and thought about everything that had happened. The test, the lies, the truth, the ending. He pulled out his phone and opened his notes app. He started writing, not to Ava, but to himself. Things I learned. 1. Testing people is just fear in disguise. 2. Love requires vulnerability, even when vulnerability is scary. 3. My kids are watching and learning from everything I do. 4. I am enough, even without someone validating that. 5. Endings can be sad and right at the same time. He read over the list and added one more. 6. Healing happens when you choose honesty over protection. Malik saved the note and put his phone away. Tomorrow he'd wake up and start fresh. He'd make breakfast for his kids. He'd go to work. He'd come home and help with homework and make dinner and be the dad they needed. And somewhere along the way, he'd keep working on himself. Keep learning to trust. Keep learning to be vulnerable. Keep learning to believe he was worthy of love, even when love felt risky. It wouldn't happen overnight. Healing never did. But he'd get there, one day at a time. 3 weeks later, Malik was at the park with the kids on a Saturday afternoon. Layla was on the swings. Jordan was shooting baskets with some friends. Malik sat on a bench, watching them, feeling more peaceful than he had in months. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi, Malik. This is Grace, Ava's sister. I hope it's okay that I'm texting. Ava gave me your number a while back. I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. Malik smiled. Grace had been kind at that barbecue months ago, warm and easy to talk to. He typed back, Hey, Grace. I'm doing okay. How are you? Good. Listen, I know you and Ava aren't together anymore. She told me what happened. I hope this isn't weird, but I wanted you to know I think you're a good guy. And what you're doing, raising those kids on your own, it's really admirable. Thank you. That means a lot. There's actually something else. My church is looking for volunteers for their mentorship program, pairing up single dads with resources and support. I immediately thought of you. Not because you need fixing, but because I think you'd be amazing helping other dads who are struggling. Malik read the message twice. A mentorship program. Helping other single fathers. Something about it resonated deeply. I'd like to know more about that. Great. I'll send you the details. No pressure. Just think about it. After they finished texting, Malik sat with the idea. Maybe this was part of his healing, using what he'd learned to help others, turning his struggles into something meaningful. Jordan came over, sweaty from basketball. Who were you texting? Someone from Miss Ava's family. She told me about a volunteer thing at her church. Are you going to do it? Maybe. Would that be okay with you? Why are you asking me? Because you and Layla come first, always. If doing this takes time away from you guys, I won't do it. Jordan thought about it. I think you should do it. You're good at the dad stuff. Other people should learn from you. Malik's heart swelled. Thanks, buddy. Plus, it might be good for you to do something besides work and us. When did you get so wise? I keep telling you, I pay attention. They stayed at the park until sunset. On the walk home, Layla held Malik's hand and talked about her day. Jordan walked beside them, occasionally adding his own observations. They were a unit, a family, imperfect but whole. Back at the apartment, Malik made dinner while the kids set the table. They ate together, talking and laughing and just being. After the kids were in bed, Malik looked at the information Grace had sent. The mentorship program met twice a month. It involved group discussions, resource sharing, and one-on-one connections between experienced single fathers and those who were new to it. It felt right. It felt like something Ruth would have encouraged him to do, using his pain to help others heal. Malik filled out the application and hit submit. Then he went to his room and pulled out the note he'd written to himself 3 weeks ago. He read through the list, then added one more item. 7. Hope isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about becoming whole on your own and sharing that wholeness with others. He saved the note and put his phone away. Outside his window, the city was settling into night. Inside his home, his children slept peacefully. Malik lay down and closed his eyes, feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because everything was perfect. Not because all his problems were solved. Not because he had all the answers. But because he'd chosen honesty over fear, dignity over desperation, growth over comfort. He'd chosen himself, and his kids, and the possibility of a future built on truth instead of tests. It wasn't the ending he'd planned when he first started dating Ava, but it was the ending he needed, and maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning of something even better. Malik drifted off to sleep with a small smile on his face. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, its own lessons, its own opportunities. But tonight, he was enough, just as he was. And that was everything. The end. 6 months later, Malik stood in front of a small group of single fathers at Grace's church. Some looked tired, some looked lost. All of them looked like they were carrying more than they should. Malik knew that feeling. "My name is Malik," he began, "and I've been raising my 2 kids on my own for 3 years now. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's also taught me more about love and strength and honesty than anything else in my life." He talked about his struggles, his fears, his mistakes, the test he'd given Ava and what it taught him about trust. "I learned that love, real love, requires vulnerability," he said. "And vulnerability is scary, especially when you've been hurt before. But the alternative, living in fear, testing people, protecting yourself so much that you never really connect, that's not living. That's just surviving." The men nodded. Some wiped their eyes. One raised his hand. "How do you know when to trust someone? How do you know they won't leave?" Malik smiled sadly. "You don't. That's the hard part. You can't know for sure. But you can choose to show up honestly, to communicate, to give people a fair chance. And if they leave anyway, at least you know you did your part." After the meeting, several men came up to thank him, to shake his hand, to ask for his number so they could talk more. Malik felt something warm spread through his chest. Purpose, connection, hope. Grace found him as he was leaving. "You were great up there." "Thanks. It felt good." "How are things with you? The kids?" "Good. Really good, actually. Jordan made honor roll. Layla joined a dance class. We're figuring it out." "And you? Any new relationships?" Malik laughed. "No, and that's okay. I'm focusing on me and the kids right now. If something happens down the road, great. If not, we're still a complete family." Grace smiled. "I'm proud of you, Malik. For real." "Thanks, and thank you for this opportunity. It means more than you know." On the drive home, Malik thought about how far he'd come. 6 months ago, he'd been testing Ava, lying about his job, consumed by fear. Now he was mentoring other fathers, showing up honestly, choosing courage over comfort. It wasn't perfect. He still had hard days, still worried about money and whether he was doing enough for his kids. Still felt lonely sometimes, but he was whole, complete, enough. And that was everything. When he got home, Jordan and Layla were waiting with Mrs. Collins. They'd made him a banner that said, "World's Best Dad" in crayon and glitter. "What's this for?" Malik asked, his throat tight. Just because, Layla said, hugging him tight. We're proud of you, Jordan added. Malik looked at his children, these two beautiful souls who'd been through so much but still knew how to love freely and honestly. They were his greatest teachers, his deepest purpose, his truest joy. I love you both so much, he said, pulling them close. We love you too, they said together, and in that moment, surrounded by his children's love and the evidence of his own growth, Malik Turner knew he'd found what he'd been searching for all along. Not someone to complete him, but the courage to be complete on his own, the strength to love without fear, the wisdom to teach his children that their worth wasn't determined by who stayed or left, but by how they showed up every single day. That was real love. That was real strength. That was enough. More than enough. It was everything.